Derek Carr looks really happy running this offense. Derek Carr looks really good running this offense.
He had his best QBR yesterday of his career.
Of his career, bro. Mm-hmm. This is a quick look. Like, I think they scored over 500 points in a season 3 times, sorting it on PF or Pro Football Reference. 2011, 2009, 2018, if I'm not mistaken. I could have, but 3 times or so. Out of that Super Bowl win, conference appearance, divisional appearance, like, a team that scores like that's going someplace. This team's on pace to score 700 points. Okay? And coming out, like, you look at Carolina and you're like, yeah, it's Carolina. I mean, that was crazy, but it's Carolina. And then you look at Dallas and you're like, whoa, look at how they made Cleveland look. They made Cleveland look like they didn't have a clue. Like a clue how to play football. And it totally flipped in a week, and Dallas looked like they didn't know how to play football. And I think what's so cool is all the big plays are off design and execution. Like touchdown to Olave, it's off play action pass. You got motion, you got design. They press that bailing corner. You know, they get the middle of the field safety out of there. He's across the field. It's a touchdown. Shaheed, play action pass, touchdown, run straight at the safety. That's terrifying. That's a number 2 receiver. He's going to get a lot of damn work this year.
Yep.
Left him on the bench in fantasy yesterday. Still waxing that ass.
Oh my God. I seen that. I'm glad you did.
And then
the Saints, they're running play action 52.3% of the time, first in the NFL.
Yep.
Last year they were 32nd.
Yeah, it's a big jump. And then all this stuff, the last one, guys, the last one here is the check down to Kamara for 1 million yards.
Oh my God.
You know, they motion, they create like a situation where half the field is basically vacated and guys are running everywhere but to that hash. And he catches the ball and it's like, oh my God, Alvin Kamara is still dangerous.
They scored touchdowns on their first 6 possessions.
And you know what's crazy about them? And Beau, same thing for being Beau, you'd be out there on 3rd down against this team. And that like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is like, if they're 3rd and 3, if they're 3rd and 4, if they're 3rd and 5, they will run the ball. And not only that, they'll go play action off it, and that makes their 3rd down offense better.
How comfortable does Carr look, man? I mean, when you look at their offense,
lazy boy, like, comfortable.
He got sacked 1 time for 1 yard against the Cowboys.
He's
really good. They're really good at rushing the passer. You know what I mean? Their entire game is built off of the strength of their offensive line and their tight ends in the run game. And that's why you see like guys like Alvin Kamara, 20 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns. Played him. Ralph was my fantasy opponent this week. He had Alvin Kamara. He had like 55 points on fantasy. Like, Alvin Kamara looks like a monster, but it's all built on the success of the Saints offensive line. Like, they're running the ball well. It's hard to pass rush a team that has really good play action looks when they're running the ball well. And Derek Carr is just comfy.
Derek Carr is currently your NFL's leading passer rating. He has a leading passer rating in the league right now.
No, that doesn't surprise me. They scored 80-some points, but he hasn't thrown. No, not having seen the game.
125 rating
if a month ago.
Yeah.
Huh? What'd you say?
You had 125 rating against the Cowboys, and like everyone's glazing up Zimmer and the Cowboys defense after their performance.
Just a glazed job.
The Browns. It's a pretty different animal.
Totally different.
Dallas defense when they're playing the Saints, who's like the Saints are built like they're built to win a lot of football games.
Listen,
I'm very interested to see them in the South with the Bucks.
They ran a pitch to Kamara on 3rd and 3. They run Wildcat on 3rd and 2. They're one of these teams. They're like a mini Detroit. Yeah. They're doing what Detroit does in a different form.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like a differently dressed Detroit Lions team offensively, but they look better offensively.
Yeah.
They look better offensively. Mm-hmm. And this is 2 games, but I'm telling you that when you got Kamara and you got Olave and you have Shaheed and you have those guys outside, like that's an exciting group and it looks really explosive. Like the explosiveness off the run game. Mm-hmm. When I was a rusher and I used to play certain games and somebody would say, hey, you never got home or like whatever happened, like you didn't have a sack. And especially when you're on teams that lose, it's just not going to happen. But there were some games where you play teams like this and I would count the true drop back opportunities and there just aren't many. Right. And somebody said, well, you had 30 plays of pass rush. I had like 5 where I had a one-on-one and it wasn't like a jet motion type thing, or it's like play action, or there's a puller coming to get me. It's just you never get in a rhythm.
Right.
And it was clear, and they ran the ball at Micah as much as they could.
And to that point with the play action, what's so impressive too is you think about, well, why are they doing this? It's probably to protect those tackles, especially in the game yesterday with Micah and Tank rushing. So basically, I mean, from Kubiak's perspective, taking what they're recognizing probably as a weakness is like, we're worried about our tackles holding up and turning it into a strength, which is hitting all these shot plays.
And listen,
well, hey, going back to that real quick, Nolan, like, I just want to gas their line for a little bit. One of the best players on the Saints right now, I don't think anyone's really talking about, is their center, Eric McCoy, is really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, he's been playing really good. In the interior of their offensive line, like some younger dudes, Cesar Ruiz, playing really good. Eric McCoy is phenomenal. Like, I've always thought he was really good. And then I'm not as familiar with Lucas Patrick, but he's playing really well too. That's like a major strength of their team.
Well, I know just overcoming the tackle play. And, Fuaga, who they ran behind a lot, like, jury's out, rookie, but Penning was a guy that was like, there's no way they're going to start this guy. Well, you can work around stuff if you got a powerful play action offense and a guy who can turn his back to defense and loves this stuff. So, Dallas, though, like, if you want to take something from this game, or a reason why you might say, hey, well, maybe the Saints aren't real, is Dallas just is not built for this. They're not built with Ferguson down to get down a couple scores. And ironically, they look so in control last week, up a couple scores. When they get down right now, they got no shot. I mean, like, every time Dallas responded, New Orleans knew the assignment. And like, when Lamb made it 21-13, they go up 28-13 the next drive. Dallas goes down, tries to pull within a touchdown again. They get a pick. New Orleans scores off that. Coming out in the second half, go look at that drive. Where Dallas, I think, kicked a field goal to make it a 16-point game. Go watch New Orleans drive. They scored 2 touchdowns, I think, on that drive. One of them got called back. They schemed up 2 of them. And they ran the ball down their throats. And you got a little bit of everything. When Taysom Hill is routing Jordan Lewis in the slot and getting a penalty drawn, like, everything's going right.
So when you see something like that, is that a Zimmer problem or a personnel problem?
I think it's both, because I think the linebackers looked a lot more human this week in general. But I think also the scheme is just something that, like, people aren't adjusted to yet. And you don't have a sample size. So you can really punch somebody in the mouth week 2. That's why, like, I want to say, we looked at each other last night. He's like, how good is this team? Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But through 2 weeks, they look tough. Because the thing about this defense is they've been through hell the last couple of years dealing with offensive ineptitude at times.
Right.
And now this defense is like, oh, we're going to have leads. And Demario Davis is a guy that gets lost in the shuffle, talking about Fred Warner and some of these other people. There was a sequence where he ran with, I think, Dowdle on a wheel and just armbarred the PBU. And the next play runs him over in protection. You're just like, this guy's a weapon. And all the little stuff that they had to do because Dallas couldn't get vertical without the weapons. The underneath stuff, he's running it all down. The backers in New Orleans are pretty good. So I'm just so impressed with them. The takeaways for me is Dallas can't play down a couple touchdowns. And I don't want to evaluate them down Ferguson, but I think they look. Who are they? They're somewhere in between these 2 weeks.
Yep.
We'll find out. But I want to see them play a game in phase against a good team. And right now they kind of have to live off spectacular plays. I mean, like, that Tolbert throw and catch was amazing. Like, I'm not looking at Dak like you're the problem after that game. Like, that is an unrealistic ask to keep pace with that offense. I've been on teams where we're giving up that many points. Like, it fucks the offense. I know that's 4. But I had to say it.